We have an obligation, not only to young veterans, but to old veterans. We have an obligation to work together, to find a harmonized program, if that's it, which satisfies the needs of older veterans and young veterans. And I think with good faith, and as Percy says, not dealing in the past, dealing in the future, focusing on the needs of our veterans, we can make a difference a long time before 20 years pass. Go ahead, brother.
My name is John Stewart. I'm a veteran. I spent 36 years in the military. I'm on the executive committee of the NATO Veterans of Canada. When we come before the hearing that Parliament's going to have, we are going to appear with the collective voices of all of our members, as will every other veterans group. We are going to represent people from across Canada. Why you would want to go out and do a sit-down town hall meeting with everyone who wants to talk to you is beyond my imagination. It's a waste of time. Sean, Mike, you've seen these people on the internet. It is a disgrace what they're doing. And they have advocated at Remembrance Day ceremonies that people turn their back on their local MP. That is not what Remembrance Day is for. And these people are advocating that. Can you imagine? So, the only thing I want to say to you, parliamentarians, is that please, when we appear before you, every word you are going to hear from us is from a representative group of veterans, and we're sincere. Perhaps should mention, Saturday I attended a meeting at the Royal Canadian Legion Dominion Command, and every major veterans group was there. They're going to sign a letter to the minister, which you should receive shortly, and it is going to say, we are unified, we're not divided, and this is what we would like you to do. And please pay attention. Thank you.
Thank you. You got a question over here? There you are. Yep. Speak louder, come up and use the mic.
I'll speak loud.
Good boy.
My question is to the members of Parliament that are all showing up here. You all say that you're united and you respect us as veterans. There's a bunch of you here. I've met a bunch at Parliament. If there's so many of you that believe in what we're saying, why is it that none of you guys can get together and go to your party leaders and say, you know what, my constituents are pissed off, they're fed up, they're veterans, we need to do something as a whole group, not as parties. What's stopping you? Why is it that us as veterans have to keep doing the exact same thing? World War I, I can show you history books. They did the exact same thing. They sat outside of Parliament. World War II, they did the exact same thing. Again, they had to sit outside of Parliament. Korean War, they did the same thing. 1993, I got blown up and shot up. I had to do the exact same thing in order to get Veterans Affairs to change the charter. What is it that makes you as parliamentarians and the other people that are working with you unable to work together in order to help us? I don't understand it. Can you please help me step up? And it's not just one group. It's not just the NDP. It's not just the Conservatives. It's not just the Liberals. You as a whole group represent us as a country. Please?
I'll try, and it's a great question. It's a 100-plus-year-old question. In a word, and it's a bad word, but it's politics, and you've heard some of that tonight, unfortunately. It should be in a perfect world that simple, because there is. I mean, nobody doesn't care about veterans. There's a difference between, being, and this is just politics and real world. There's a difference between being in opposition, being in government. In government, you have to do things. In opposition, you oppose things, or you say things, and that's fine. the duty of government is to everybody in the country. And there are conflicting legitimate demands. You know, and anybody can argue that veterans come first, or seniors come first, or some other group come first. They all come first, and we can put some in a higher plane depending on our particular perspective or history. Governments, and I don't want to get this down to a dollars and cents thing, but at the end of the day, and somebody, you know, said it at the sideline here a little while ago, it does eventually come to dollars and cents. There is a finite amount of money that any government has to work with, and you try to meet all those legitimate demands, and they're all legitimate. As a veteran, I completely sympathize with you know, putting veterans first. But it can't be first and everybody else is down here. There has to be some kind of balance, and that's where I go back to, we need to do a better job of giving the folks who need the most help, have the most need, give them the most help. One of the big challenges that we have is not, you know, there's lots of things there, and it's been mentioned, is we make it too difficult to access. And that's one thing, to me, that's the biggest single thing we have to work on, is change the culture of Veterans Affairs. And I've said it in public, I've said it in private, I've said it in caucus, I've said it to the ministers, plural. I would like to reverse the culture in Veterans Affairs. I mean, the first answer is always no, because the bureaucrats are protecting the public purse. That's what they do. So they want to make darn sure that, you know, if somebody comes with a need, that they are, you know, absolutely sure that yes, that need is justified and so on. And again, that's what they do. I'd like to reverse that, because most people aren't gaming the system. Some people do game the system. That's human nature. So in their effort to try to catch the 5%, 10%, whatever the number is, people game the system. They make the legitimate guys jump through way too many hoops. I would turn that around. And I would say, unless it's obvious that you're gaming the system, and sometimes it is, then get the benefits going, whatever they are, get it going. But continue to do the due diligence. And if somebody is, you know, screwing you around, then you're gonna go back. And you know what, I wouldn't even, this is just my personal opinion, I wouldn't even go back and, you know, recover the money from them. I'd say, hey, good on you. You worked the system for a year, you got that extra money. We're not gonna take it back, but you're not getting any more. And I think, you know, we would probably have 90% of the people happy instead of 90% of the people pissed off. And there'd be a cost to that. But I totally agree that we make guys work too hard to get what they all know, or the vast majority of them know, they actually deserve. We need to make that easier. And that, for me, is one of my focuses in efforts on the committee. And Jimmy Kay, for your advocation, and you can verify it, I think what I did was turn to Peter and said, I think we're starting with 10 sessions, and we'll see where that goes. It wasn't saying it's 10 and 10 only. So we're prepared to do whatever we have to do. We're prepared to do it in as non-partisan a way as we can. One of the things that I'm going to be doing and proposing, we have to see how we can craft it, is a private member's bill sometime early next year, because one of the challenges is transitioning from D&D to VAC. Right now, they can't just hand over files, medical records and all that kind of stuff, because of privacy concerns, because of some of the new privacy laws. You know, so the D&D guys can't talk to the VAC guys and just hand off everything and say, here you go. Here's your guy, here's his file number, here's everything, just carry on. That doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm gonna be trying to propose and trying to write or get crafted a private member's bill that you know, breaks down that wall. And we need to get three ministers on side, Minister of Veterans Affairs, Minister of National Defense, and Minister of Justice, because there's justice issues with privacy and so on. With those three individuals that I know, I don't think that's gonna be a problem. We need to get it by the bureaucracy. And that's one of the big challenges in government. Members of Parliament come and go. Governments come and go. Bureaucracy is there forever. And they know that. And, you know, they're great people doing a great job. They're highly educated, they're highly skilled, they're highly experienced. But sometimes they don't do what we want them to do or what you want them to do. So
fire their asses.
Well, yeah, easy to say. Easy to say. I wish I could do that sometimes. You can't do it. Just like Senator, but that's a whole other story. So, you know, it's not, you know, you can put it in government, and I totally agree, the buck stops there. But even prime ministers can't do everything that they would like to do. They don't have that power. So I totally get where you're coming from. We do need to break down those walls, whether it's between D&D and back, or just, you know, getting the benefits going and taking the guy's word for it. You know, continue to do the due diligence. We need to make it a lot easier for guys to access what's actually there, and I think that would make a whole lot of people a whole lot happier. I know that didn't answer the question the way you wanted to, but we can't, it's just not that easy. We're trying.
That would have made me a whole lot happier, eh? Jim, go ahead.
Now, I'm not privileged to all the facts and figures, but I've heard some horror stories. Horror story number one, if you don't like somebody, you appoint him somewhere, and then you access his medical file. Harold Leduc, we accessed his medical file, and they drove the person around the bend. Now, if we don't like what a citizen writes in the paper, we turn around and we write, oh yeah, he served under me. It's a member of parliament writing that. I don't think that's right. The person writes something, you don't do something. I hear, we ask the question of the minister, what can you do about Corporal Dave Hawkins? And the minister gets up, never answers the question, and he says, we don't live anymore in the 10 years of darkness. Well, the question is, what are you going to do for this young man? Folks, we all play politics. You'll play politics here today. I play politics at home. And sometimes we just never get it together, and you hear the big words. But I'll tell you one thing. Here's something that I would like to share with you. If you're in the Army and you get hurt, and you apply for a pension, what's the first thing that VRAB or VAC does? What's the first thing that they do? You apply for a pension. Besides the consent form, they got everything. What's the first thing that they must access?
Medical files.
Thank you.
Medical information.
Thank you. Do you think that VAC or the Department of Veteran Affairs will ever order the destruction of medical files? Some files can go get lost, maybe, one or two. And if you got a box, how many files will fit in there? 10? Would you believe that maybe the department ordered files to be destroyed? Would you believe that? You served in the Army, sir. Would you believe that?
I would be shocked. I would be shocked.
Library and Archives of Canada is currently storing for Veterans Affairs Canada 27,381 boxes of patients' files from former Veterans Hospital. It is important in our negotiations with LAC that we proceed with the destruction of these files ASAP. Supervised National Information Holdings, Information Service Delivery, Veteran Affairs Canada. 27,381. 2009.
I hope my file is not in it.
And the person currently is taking the government to federal court, the Supreme Court of Canada. And if you don't like who you play with, you just turn the tables on him. Let's blacklist him. Let's put him and throw him under the bus. I'm sorry, 27,381. You said 10? That's 270,000. Shows how much respect there is for your sacrifices.
Are those veterans that passed away by any chance?
I have